This video is brought to you by Bambu Lab. As a content creator, one of the coolest things is figuring out exactly how you want things to work. You know where your gear should live, you know what slows you down, you know what annoys you every single day. And the problem is, sometimes the thing that you need doesn't actually exist, or at least nobody sells it. But over the past month, I've been using the Bambu Lab X2D, and today I want to show you 10 things I've printed that genuinely improved my workflow as a content creator. Some are camera accessories, some are desk accessories, some are incredibly specific, but every single one of them solved a problem I had in the studio. Hey, welcome back to The Block. I'm Roger Singh, and around here we explore the cameras, gear, and workflows behind the content that we create. Now, if you've watched this channel for a while, you know I'm always revising my workspace. I'm moving things around, trying different setups, looking for small ways to make this room work better. And what I didn't expect was that a 3D printer would become part of that process. So let me show you what I've been printing. So the first thing I want to show you is this giant thing right here. I printed an AirPods Max Stand. You could even place a MagSafe charger underneath here and it'll charge through this pass-through. Got the cord running out the back. It's pretty cool. I haven't done that yet. But this thing printed in several pieces. I can then rest my AirPods Max on here and the balance of it works pretty well. Before this, my headphones basically lived wherever I happened to set them down, which is my desk or a shelf or a camera cart. Now they have an actual place to go. It's a small thing, but I use it every single day. Now this next one might actually be one of the most used things that I've printed. It's a tiny trash can. That's it. But somehow my desk stays cleaner now. Little pieces of tape, packaging, labels, random scraps from opening gear. Instead of it piling up next to my keyboard, they end up in here. And I just unscrew, empty it out into a real trash can, and it's all thrown away. Turns out the solution that I needed was a tiny trash can. This one's one of my favorite ones. It's a topographic catch tray. It sits right on my desk. Every day when I come back in, I empty my pockets and everything just sits in here. Got my wallet, keys, earbuds, whatever random thing I was carrying that day. Nothing fancy, just useful. This one is probably the least exciting thing in the entire video, but maybe one of the most useful. Because somehow, cables always end up exactly where you don't want them. Now they stay right where they're supposed to be. And I don't have to think about them anymore. At this point, I started noticing a pattern. I wasn't printing decorations, I was solving annoyances, little friction points, tiny problems that repeated themselves every single day. And that's why I started looking at my camera gear. So the first one I want to show you is this microphone mount right here. What's really cool about this for me is that the original designer of this made it for the DJI mics. However, personally, I'm a user of the Insta360 Mic Pro, and it works as a magnetic microphone stand for, you guessed it, the Insta360 Mic Pro. So I can talk and hold a mic like this. It doesn't fall off at all. It's a nice minimal microphone stand. The Insta360 Mic Pro is something I use all the time, hence what you're hearing right now, but it never really had a dedicated place to live. Now it does, simple as that. This next one is a magnetic mount for the Extra Atto. It's a small accessory, but now I can grab it immediately instead of digging through a drawer trying to remember where I left it. With this mount, I just slide it into the hot shoe mount onto my camera, and I can record POV video while I'm taking photos. I attach 4 magnets to it so it clips on, and I can mount it to my camera. Speaking of the hot shoe, this one is probably the most ridiculous item on the list because I keep losing them. I lose them all the time. They're hot shoe covers. They're tiny, cost basically nothing, but now I have one exactly when I need it. And apparently, that's enough reason for me to print it. This one's pretty cool. Started getting the mechanics of it folding and bending, but it's a slim card case. I carry SD cards constantly, and somehow they always end up floating around in my bags or in a bulky case. This one keeps them organized, which means I'm spending less time looking for cards and more time filming. Okay, let me grab my Insta360 Flow 2 Pro because I want to show you this. It's pretty cool. I already have it on here. Okay, this is where things start to get interesting because now I wasn't just organizing gear, I was customizing gear. I found myself looking at products and thinking that I wish this had, and then realizing somebody had already designed a solution, which is this right here. It's a cold shoe mount for the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro, where I could put this on to my phone gimbal, where I could slide on any cold shoe accessory like a microphone or a light, but now I have an extra cold shoe mount built into the arm of the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro. And what's nice is when I fold it, it can still fit on there and it doesn't get in the way. Okay, this last one is probably my favorite. Camera mounts for my Pegboard. Now before this, some of my cameras lived on shelves, some sat on desks, and some were wherever I happened to leave them after filming. Now they have a dedicated place to live. And honestly, that's when I started looking at the whole studio differently. Because I wasn't just organizing gear anymore, I was customizing the space around the way I actually work. The real turning point wasn't any individual print, it was the Pegboard, because once I started adding mounts and holders for all of my gear, everything suddenly had a place. 360 cameras, accessories, gimbal cameras, drones, headphones, things that I use every day. The camera mounts ended up becoming the centerpiece of this product. And once the cameras had a place, everything else started finding its place too. And at some point, I stopped asking, where can I buy this? And I started asking, has somebody already made this? And most of the time, the answer is yes. And that's where MakerWorld became a huge part of the experience, because I still haven't designed my own model. Not yet. Every one of these came from someone else's idea. I could browse, find a solution, send it directly to the printer, and see if it actually improved my workflow. That made the whole thing feel way more approachable than I expected. Now, one thing I didn't expect was how often I would use the Bambu Handy app. I'd start a print while editing, check on it from my phone, pull up the camera feed, and keep working. The printer just became part of my normal day. The same thing happened with the AMS 2 Pro. I thought changing materials would be a whole process, but turns out I load filament, pick a print, and keep moving. The system handles the rest. The first time I watched supports come off one of these prints, I immediately understood why people get excited about this stuff. The auxiliary nozzle can print support material separately, which means when the print finishes, the supports peel away surprisingly clean. And the first time I saw it happen, I just stood there pulling supports off prints for way longer than I probably should have. It's incredibly satisfying. I think that's why this clicked for me. The X2D, the AMS 2 Pro, MakerWorld, the Bambu Handy app, everything feels like it was designed to work together. I never felt like I was building a workflow from scratch. It already existed. Because of that, I spend less time troubleshooting and more time making things. One thing I thought was interesting while putting all this together was learning about Bambu's new PLA Pure Filament. Because honestly, filament was never something I thought much about before getting into 3D printing. You buy filament, you print it, that's about as far as the thought process went. But PLA Pure feels like a different approach. It's made with just 5 ingredients, the same standards used for children's toys and baby tableware. And it's certified to European toy and safety standards. And I think what I like about that isn't really a spec, it says about where Bambu is headed. They're not just building printers anymore. They're thinking about the materials that come into our homes too. And when you're printing things that end up on your desk, around your workspace, or sitting in your house every day, that's something I can appreciate. So the funny thing is that none of these things are particularly exciting by themselves. It's a headphone stand. It's a tiny trash can. It's a cable clip, a microphone mount, a hot shoe cover. Pretty ordinary stuff. But together they changed how this room functions. They made gear easier to access. They made my workspace cleaner. They removed little annoyances that used to happen every single day. And at first, I thought that 3D printing was going to be about learning a new hobby. What I found myself doing instead was improving this space where I already spend most of my time. And after about a month, there's a lot fewer little annoyances around here. That's been pretty cool to see. So thanks for spending some time here with me on the block. If you enjoy exploring cameras, gear, and workflows like this, subscribe and come back next week.